In Urdu, the word azmat signifies pride. A fifer in his last, 41 of 31 in the last game, and a sensational half-century has gotten Afghanistan to 273 when Australia, the world champions, kept coming and denting them at every point, but they ended up with a flourish. We're back at Cricbuzz Live. I am Saiyami, Kher, and with me in the yellow corner is Harsha Bhogle.
She's not giving up. Lady in black.
Lady in black, but what a finish for Afghanistan and what a knock by Omarzai.
It's a good score. I think the last 25 runs could just make it a little tricky for Australia. I thought 250, 255, thereabouts would be easy, but these last 25 runs...
to be precise, is what you were aiming at.
I was hoping so, but I think this kid's played beautifully, Azmatullah, Omarzai, because I thought today was a very mature innings, and he's showing he can play in two gears. He comes in when wickets have fallen early. Now, let's see, he comes in today in the 32nd over. And so he's controlled that back end so beautifully. He comes in when quick runs are needed. He's got that gear to him as well. He's growing. I mean, I really do want to know what is behind this wonderful development of young players. Because 67 or 63, when wickets are falling,
yes.
Right? Now, remember, fifth wicket fell in the 36th over. And the sixth wicket fell in the 37th over. So basically, he's got to control that back end. So to control that back end at a strike rate of greater than 100, hitting the sixes is a wonderful innings. And I thought the other young player, the tall left-hander, Sediqullah Atal, very lucky early on. He must have played and missed God knows 10, 15 times. But it's what you do when that happens that determines how good a player you are. And I just loved his composure, playing beautifully. I'd really love to know how they're producing these correct players. I can understand if they produce inventive players because they're watching other people play on T20. But players with the composure, there's something in the development chain that's very good.
You're talking about composure, which is why I want to go back to what Azmat did, because it's not just flash in the pan. He's doing it over and over again. He was the ODI Cricketer of the Year last year. And of course, there's been high praise of Omarzai by the master himself. So when the master praises him, you know, they sit, watch, and this is something that they really want. But just the maturity he plays with, and there's absolutely no sense of stress when they play. You know that they were a little short on the runs, but he comes in and, like you said, he played at that second gear for quite some time, and then suddenly he goes to sixth gear when it's needed.
I'll tell you what I liked about Omarzai. I don't always get to watch that much cricket, but I follow the scores. And I saw in some of the games she was batting at number 4, which is a very, very good discipline for an innings like this. Because when you're batting at 4, you're building an innings and you've got the time to build that innings. Look, that came in handy today. But yeah, I mean, the master says then on this program, we must talk about it, right? But I think he's rising up the charts very well. And I'm trying to think of excellent all-rounders from number 6. And I think at the moment there are 2 in world cricket, 2 standout players in world cricket, Hardik Pandya and him. I don't think Pandya is getting to bat as much because of the stronger batting side that he is in. But I'm just trying to go back, and only one name comes to mind to me again and again. There's Dwayne Bravo, who started out his career as a number 6 test match batter. He's got test hundreds from number 6. So if you've got someone who can give you 10 overs from number 6, that just changes your side completely. And that is how they're able to play Naib, and they're able to play a 6th bowling option. But I just loved his composure.
You know, like you said, there's Hardik and Azmat that come to mind. And it's really funny you say that because he was a like-for-like replacement for Hardik in the IPL. But he's somebody who started off as a batter, a complete batter, and then he took to bowling much later. So he clearly is a batting all-rounder first, and we can see the purity of shots he plays. You spoke about, you know, how it's proper cricketing shots, because with Afghanistan, we were chatting about it. Where do they get this practice? So they practice mostly in T20 leagues, but what we see is proper cricketing shots.
And he must be a clever person. I'd love to know him better. He must be a clever person because his bowling is growing too. He is bowling the slower ball, he's bowling the heavy ball, he's bowling the full length, he's bowling it back of a length. So his bowling is starting to get better. When I first saw him bowl, and I've watched him over the last, say, couple of years, I thought he'll be a sort of 6-7 overs bowler. Maybe 2-3 overs bowler in T20 cricket, maybe 6-7 at a stretch in 50 overs. They're getting 10 overs out of him. So he's becoming a better and better player. But you're absolutely right. He's always going to be a batting all-rounder. And I see him moving up too. I won't be surprised if he starts to bat at number 5 consistently, which is also where Hardik is capable of batting.
Yes.
But I love the way he's controlled this innings. If Bangladesh have a chance today, if they've gone from 235, 240 to 270, then it's largely because of Afghanistan. Did I say something else?
You said Bangladesh, I think.
Bangladesh would kill to have a player like Omarzai. Why did I say Bangladesh? If Bangladesh can get Omarzai. But I'll tell you one other difference. In Afghanistan, the players are getting better. In Bangladesh, players are not getting better. So he's better off being Afghanistan at the moment.
Well, you spoke about the other youngster there, Sediqullah Atal, and how beautifully he played. Again, something very interesting you said is that he got his chances, but it's what you make of those chances. 85 of 95, he was almost looking like, okay, he's going to shift gears now. And then, it was really soft dismissal.
So I think they lost about 10, 15 runs there because he was hitting beautifully down the ground. He's a tall player. He's got a lovely reach. And once he got through that initial phase, when Spencer Johnson and Ben Dwarshu were swinging the ball around, it was a very difficult period of batsmanship. And they were very lucky they got away because I thought slightly indisciplined bowling from Australia, drifting into the pads. They got a lot of easy runs down to fine leg. But once he got over that, I think he's going to be another very, very good player. There's so much talent coming through there. He's going to be a fantastic player, Sadiqullah. And just checking up, came through emerging nations, came through their local T20 tournament. But again, another player who's learning the art of building an innings. I mean, you see a lot of, who are the other young players coming through T20? You're seeing Sam Constance, Jake Fraser McGurk, and you're seeing single gear players. Whereas a lot of these younger players coming through are able to build an innings. People like Omarzai and him, they're able to build an innings. And we saw Ibrahim Zadran the other day. There's so much. They're becoming a really good batting side.
Again, it's interesting you say that because I want to go back to, we've chatted about how they don't play enough ODI cricket. T20 cricket, we know what Afghanistan can do because of the leagues they play. When you talk about building an innings, we saw what Atal did today, Zadran did the other day, and
Omarzai
did today. So how is it that these batters are adapting to 50 overs so quickly?
Look, they must have the smarts. It's very easy to say that someone like a Jonathan Trott has done it. They've got a batting coach, whatever. But remember, it's not easy to establish lines of communication between there. I think there's Andrew Patik, who's also in the coaching setup. It's not easy to establish communication for someone who's been South African, grown up in England, versus people here who probably don't have the same grasp of the language. But somewhere, that communication is going through. And that is where they're all learning to build innings, but they have to have the smarts. And I'll tell you one thing, you've got two coaches these days, two sets of coaches. One is one of the people in front of you, one is watching on television. And I'm sure the Omarzais and the Atals have watched a lot of cricket on television and saying, "Acha, ye aise kar raha hai, mujhe aise karna chahiye." And maybe the seniors are playing a role too.
This is something Zadran said when Master tweeted, he said, "We have grown up watching you." So we know where a lot of learning comes from also is watching the greats. But talking about the greats, you spoke about that opening spell and the ball was swinging all over the place that, the first 5 overs that we saw. Again, something very interesting here. We see the amount of swing that they received has not been seen in the Champions Trophy so far.
And I don't know whether it was because there was a lot of overnight rain, there was a little bit of dampness. It was also doing stuff off the deck, but it was moving a lot. In any case, the left-handers in the first few overs always get that amount of swing. But you saw the bottom line there. It said maximum extras in the power play. Look down the scorecard. There is 85 for Atal, there's 67 for Azmatullah, 37 extras. If they fall short by 10, 15 runs, you know where those have gone. 37 extras, and it's not something you associate with Australia. So there was a lot there. It'll be interesting to see when, say, a Fazalak Farooqi or a Omarzai comes into bowl, whether there's a little bit still in there for them. The other noticeable thing with Australia's bowling was the wrist spinner didn't get much. Their two best slow bowlers are the two finger spinners. I know they probably got through in the middle overs, but the finger spinners have bowled very well. There's only one finger spinner there in Nabi. 6 overs, 28 for Maxwell is excellent, but to get 7 overs out of Matthew Short, 7 overs done for 21. So they bowled 13 overs for 49. It's fantastic captaincy to get those overs out of them.
You know, if we talk about the spinners and we see where they've bowled, we chatted about this while watching the game. It almost looked like they were getting that extra bounce. Both the wickets that Maxwell got and Zampa's, the first wicket Zampa got, was it the length they were bowling? Here we see that the 3 wickets they got were all on the short ball.
A couple of them are probably due to shot selection by the batters, but you saw the Zampa wicket was a classic leg spinner's wicket. So often leg spinners get a batter caught at backward point because of the wrist spin, they get that extra bounce. And when you're trying to cut, you have to be able to keep it down. But sometimes, and you saw that shot, similar to the shot that Kohli played against you, because you were falling back, it always goes in the air. But there is bounce over there. I'd like to see whether Noor or Rashid can use that, because they're not typically bowlers who use the bounce. They're skiddy bowlers, but that is there for them. I think it's going to be a tricky run chase. I still think Australia will stay ahead. I don't know about the dew, because the dew holds very deep mysteries that are that you cannot you cannot solve. But if there's dew, they'll walk this chase.
You know, you spoke about short, 7 overs, 21 runs. Were you surprised they didn't finish his quota, considering he was so economical?
I think much like you do if you're in a casino, I'm not there, but I've read about it, you cash out. And I think Steve Smith there has said, I've got 7 out of him, 7 for 21. Don't ride your luck too much. I've got a great spell out of him. I don't want another 20 runs to go in the next 2 overs. So I think he's pulled out well. Even with Maxwell, he pulled out well in time. So, and that's something a captain's got to decide. Look, we have no idea. He might have bowled 10 overs for 30.
Yes.
But you don't know that.
Well, Michael said it in our pre-match show. He said he's an astute captain, Steve Smith, and we saw that today. We also saw him extremely emotional when the ball, you were chatting about it, when they were bowling down the leg. The field was set for the offside, so very passionate captain, but just the way he rotated his bowlers was very impressive.
I think he would have wanted Australia 40 for 3. He would have wanted Afghanistan 40 for 3 with the amount of help there was. I think he got frustrated by the line. You know, as a captain or as a wicket-keeper or as a fielder, you don't mind if the ball goes past the outside edge. It's not that easy to control. But you bowl in that channel, you get the ball to swing, one will take the edge. But when you drift down the leg side, typically inside the power play, long leg is very rarely fine. Long leg tends to be much squarer than 45. So if you get it just to the right of the keeper, then you're always getting 4. That is where the frustration came. He got a set of 4 buys. He got 5 wides and he got 2 boundaries tickled in the first power play. So there you're 5 and 4, 9. The 17 runs gone over there. It'll be frustrating for the captain, because he's thinking, if I'm going out to bat there and I'm not getting anything down the leg side, if I do, it's a bonus.
Do you think it's also, you know, the greats, when you talk about the greats, they bowl that nagging line outside the off stump and they don't have that one which goes down the leg. So we've seen what Stark, Hazelwood, they do for Australia. Do you think it's also just the inexperience in the bowling, that you bowl consistently, but then these 2 balls you bowl down the leg? It
could be lack of experience, it could also be lack of class. Sometimes with Stark, you'll see that ball going there. But with Hazelwood, no chance. Cummins' length is not that. Cummins is still slightly back of a length. But with Hazelwood, you're not getting anything to tickle off your pads. So that was the difference. I think Stark, Cummins, Hazelwood, we would have been looking at 220 today.
Well, they've got 273 and they'll be happy with how they finished. But will they be happy with those middle overs, and just some short selection probably was unnecessary for Afghanistan?
It could be, especially, was it Shahidi? Rahmat Shah got out, caught behind. Would have been Shahidi. That's probably the one they would miss the most. Also, the Nabi run out.
Unnecessary.
The Nabi run out. Uncle Nabi was a little dozy. But yes, to some extent. But you know, over 10 wickets, that happens. That you'll always get a couple who are going there. Rahmat Shah is the kind of batter who can bat through, but that happens. I still think overall, against Australia, you get 270 on the board. Most days you're happy.
Well, the winner of this game is going to go through, but there's another 2 teams in the other group who are sitting very comfortable. They will be playing day after tomorrow, but we thought we'll chat about it today in detail. India take on New Zealand in Dubai. This is going to be happening on Sunday. Both these teams, Harsha, have qualified. They're very comfortable, but the ones who win obviously become table toppers. India, chat about them first. 5 ODIs, they've won all 5. On paper, they're looking solid. They're executing their plans on ground. Virat Kohli's tick mark. Everything that India wants seems to be going their way.
They want one big innings from Rohit Sharma.
Yes.
They want Rohit with that start. He's got a 20 or 14. He's got a 35-40. They want Rohit to deliver a 70-80. Rohit Sharma delivers a 70-80. He set it up for everybody else. Now, can you imagine if Rohit Sharma is giving you 80, how easy it becomes for Shubman Gill, for Virat Kohli, for Shreyas Iyer. So I think that is the one thing India want. Otherwise, India's three-spinner policy is working beautifully on those pitches. And there's no dew.
Yes.
So they're playing fine over there. It's working well. India have got a team for those conditions. I would hesitate to say that India have picked a team only for those conditions because come what may, India were going to play three spinners. Come what may. So India have not said, wow, we're playing there, so we'll play three spinners. India would have picked that anyway. The one thing that surprised me was Harshit Rana playing ahead of Arshdeep. By the way, the way, I've had Arshdeep as my leading wicket taker of the tournament.
Oh, wow.
And he hasn't bowled a ball. But Harshit has done what's asked of him. And that's very good. Even the last game, he had 1 for 30.
You had Arshdeep as your leading wicket taker. Okay, you say okay.
I just say Harshit again.
Yes.
No, I had Arshdeep as my leading wicket taker, but Harshit Rana has done everything that's asked of him. And even the last game, 7.3, 1 for 30. He comes in those middle overs. He hustles his way through. So he's giving his captain 6 proper bowling options. The other big plus for India the other day was the way Hardik Pandya bowled. He bowled a 6-over spell. He bowled beautifully. So you've got to a stage now where if one of the fast bowlers has an off day, like Shami did against Pakistan, his first 3-4 overs, he was struggling with his rhythm. Hardik Pandya stands up. So you've got proper 6 bowling options. India looking very good. But they're up against a side that's been their bogey. I mean, you talk about India-Pakistan. India-Pakistan hasn't been a contest for a very, very, very long time. India-New Zealand is the contest.
But again, we spoke about Virat Kohli being that last tick mark for India. But because India has already qualified, do you think they'll maybe play Varun, rest Kuldeep, or they'll just go with the same team?
I think Kuldeep would like a lot more bowling behind him.
Okay.
So I don't know if they'll change too much. It'll be tempting to play Varun, but I think this thing is so well set up. And you've only got 2 games after this if you win this at most. So I don't think they'll do too much. I wonder if they'll give Arshdeep or Washington a game.
All right. So Washington for?
With the left-handers in there, maybe Washington for either Akshar or Jadeja.
Okay.
I'm not so sure though, but that could be one option given there's Conway, there's Ravindra, there's Santner. I think there's someone else. Yeah. So I think that's one thing they might consider.
And also the semi-finals on Tuesday. So they play on Sunday and then the semi-finals on Tuesday. So will they rest someone out or just go ahead with a winning
comp? They've had 6 days rest.
Yeah.
They've had 6 days rest at the moment. That's more than enough. I think they've had 2 or 3 days off. They've had 2 or 3 training days. So I don't think that'll bother them too much. And if they can win that final, that semi-final, then they've got another 4 days before they get into the final with no travel. That's piquing a lot of people. That's hurting a lot of people. No travel, but it's going well at the moment. But if India can beat New Zealand, then that's a statement they're making to whoever plays them in the semi-final.
But there are reports that Rohit might be rested. Will you be in favor of that?
It's a tricky one. I was actually on air. It might have been either the first or the second. I think it was the Babar Azam wicket.
Okay.
And I don't remember exactly which one. DK was with me in commentary, and none of the cameras picked it up. But DK said, hang on. When Rohit celebrated, as soon as he finished celebrating, he held his hamstring.
Ooh. Okay.
So maybe, but he came out to bat after that.
Yes.
All that was fine. He's had 6 days off.
Yeah.
He wouldn't want to rest. But if they think there's any little thing there, then they might rest him in this game. But ideally, they wouldn't want to rest him.
All right, then for New Zealand, we'll have a look and see what combination they will go ahead with. Again, for them, things seeming to all fall in place with Rachin getting in great form, Latham in great form. Of course, Will Young's got that 100. Daryl Mitchell missed out. So what do you see happening with New Zealand?
I mean, I really rate Daryl Mitchell as a cricketer. The only way Mitchell can come back into this side is in place of Conway. But they like Conway. There's something about, on a big day, you want to see Conway going out to open the batting. So I suspect Mitchell might miss out now because Latham's batting so well. That's the other left-hander in the middle.
Correct.
So they've got lots of left-handers. Latham in the middle. Kyle Jamieson comes back. That strengthens their batting even more. Again, another tall bowler who hits the deck. So they've actually ticked off all the boxes other than maybe having a proper left arm quick. Let's look at that side again, and it looks largely, apart from, it looks largely
spin driven.
Yeah, so Henry, O'Rourke, Jameson, Phillips, and Bracewell. That's a lot of right-handed bowling. Other than Santner, I don't think has been on top of his game in this tournament. The one thing they could do, I don't know if they want to give Mark Chapman a game, but no, I think they're just so happy with their with the way it's structured. I think that's the way they'll go. They'll keep this side. They're happy with this side.
Well, they are going to be traveling to Dubai, and with that pitch, do you see like 40 overs of spin being bowled because they have so many options? Santner, Phillips, Bracewell, Rachin. So that's 40 overs of spin there.
It is, but look, it's not one of those Sri Lanka or Bangladesh kind of pitches.
All right.
It's not a pitch where you just have to turn up and spin. So I think with the 6 options, I won't be surprised if they go sort of, they'll go 27, 28 overs of, 26, 27 overs of spin. I don't see them doing too much more.
All right, and who's starting favourites for you? Because this is the contest everyone's waiting for. So.
Yeah, I mean, New Zealand bat very deep, just as India bat very deep. They're very much the form side. They've got batters in the middle who keep going at the pace, and that's where someone like a Ravindra and a Phillips play such a key role in between over there. But I still think that the manner in which India are playing in those conditions, India will still back themselves to start that game as favourites.
Your players to watch out for then, one from each team.
Player I want or the player I think? The player I want is Rohit.
Yes.
Without doubt, the player I want is Rohit Sharma, because I think if he gets a 70-80, he just changes everything. But yeah, I mean, if Kohli gets another big score, it will make a difference.
So is it Rohit or is it Virat?
Rohit for me. Rohit, given the way this tournament is going, yes, for me.
And for New Zealand?
Is Rohit Sharma. The player New Zealand want desperately to get runs is Kane Williamson. It's Kane Williamson. Because he has this great ability. We talked about controlling a game with Afghanistan today. Very few control the game better than... For players like Williamson, Root, Kohli, 50-over format is ideal because they get the time, they get the space to run their ones and twos. It's a perfect format for them.
All right, this is happening day after tomorrow, so we will chat lots more about it. But coming back to what's happened today, Afghanistan have got 273 in their 50 overs, 85 by Atal, a great finish by Omarzai with 67 and 273 Harsha. Do you think this is very easily chaseable for Australia, or do you think that Afghanistan is going to come back with those spinners and you're going to see things turn around lots and it's going to be quite a contest?
Watch for 2 things. Watch for dew. And Afghanistan need 2 wickets in the power play. Afghanistan need Australia 40-odd for 2 at the end of the power play. There's not a lot of wickets falling in the power play in this tournament. But if Australia 60-65 for no loss in the power play, I think Afghanistan will find it very difficult.
But how do you think Australia is going to chase this? Because Head is someone who likes to just go for it from the word go. And Afghanistan, if you see the way they went about their innings, they just kept losing wickets every time. You know, it was a quite topsy-turvy, if you can see. The progression here says it all.
It'll be interesting watching Head because Head likes pace on the ball. And he won't get it. Fazal Faruqi will take pace off. Omarzai can take pace off. So he won't get a lot of pace. But yeah, I mean, if he gets in. And that match shot is an interesting one. He scores a lot of runs in Australia. It's not always a leading indicator of whether you'll get runs everywhere else. But yeah, if Head gets going, then they'll get those 70. If they're 60-70 for no loss, then it's a tough chase.
Well, we spoke about it in the pre-match show also. There's someone who really needs to put his hand up, and that's Captain Steve Smith with the bat. He's going to be crucial for Australia in this chase.
He likes batting at 3. So if you notice the interchange positions, Labuschagne goes to 4, Smith bats at 3. Yeah, I mean, Steve Smith gets a 78. It's part of their wish list, Steve Smith getting a big score. But look how deep they're batting, man. Glenn Maxwell at 7. Dwarshuis swings his bat. Ellis swings bat a little bit here. They're still batting deep with Maxwell at 7. So I'm backing them to get these. But if there is no dew, if it starts to grip, if Australia lose 2 in the power play, we've got a great match on our hands.
Let's hope we get a great match on our hands. You want 2 wickets down, but how many runs are they going to make in the power play or prediction?
58.
58 for 2 is what you want.
No.
But yeah, 58.
For Afghanistan, 45 for 2 is perfect.
No, but 58 is your score.
I'm going, 58 for 1.
Just Head is so unpredictable.
I know what your heart is saying.
My heart is saying 28, but I will go with
She's got a better record than me, so listen carefully. Listen
I will go with your 50?
Tick tock, tick tock,
53.
tick tock, 58, tick tock,
58, I'll go with
tick tock, time
52.
go. Okay.
But they were 54. Okay, I'll just stick to 52. 58 and 52. I haven't had a win in very long, so I really need a win. And
I don't win anyway, so anything is good for me.
You were almost there, but then we saw what
Omarzai's finished.
Omarzai's finished your prediction score. That's what happened. We'll come back, give you all the updates at the 15th over point at the Cricbuzz com box. Thank you so much for watching Cricbuzz Live.